What up, guys? It's Frankie Finn here, and I want to talk to you guys about building systems in your agency. You do this right, and what ends up happening is that you can actually have a life while your income goes up and your clients are happy and things are happening, but you're not the one making them happen. So this is one of those key things that if you really truly understand the power of it, you can build a powerful, powerful lifestyle agency where you actually get to have a life. So let's get into it. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Systems are fucking boring. In fact, everybody I know who've ever had to create them in their agency kind of dreads doing it a little bit. All of us creative people, nobody wakes up and says, "I really love systems." It's kind of actually a little bit like some Bill Lumbergh action.
Yeah, you apparently didn't put one of the new cover sheets on your TPS reports. You see, we're putting the cover sheets on all TPS reports now before they go out.
Not the most exciting guy in the world, Bill Lumbergh. It's a great movie, by the way, and that's the Sea of Cortez. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's the ocean right there. Jacques Cousteau said it was the aquarium of the world, one of his favorite places on Earth. So there's two things that I want you to really check out. There's a book by Michael Gerber called The E-Myth. If you've never built systems in your agency or in any business before, this will be revolutionary, especially in a service-based business. He gives a lot of great examples. One that always stuck with me in the book. So there was a hotel, and it was a very high-end hotel, and they were trying to create great experience for their customers. And they would come in, and they would stay at the hotel, and they'd have people clean the rooms, and they would like to add these like personalized touches to make the person feel welcome. And what ended up happening is they would happen some of the times. They would not happen other times. Like the person would clean the room but forget the toilet, and then you go to stay at a hotel and you go to get in there, and there's a big nasty poop in the toilet, right? So when you get the nasty shit, you're not like super excited to stay at the hotel. And it's a little like the customers would get mad at the hotel and go full-blown Attitude Era The Rock.
You are absolutely right. You do suck. But there is one thing and one thing only you can do. You must go find the man who is simply electrifying. You must go find The Rock.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that was just an excuse to work in my favorite wrestler from the 90s, The Rock. The 90s and 2000s, the Attitude Era, best era of wrestling. So, we're talking about the E-Myth, and one of the things that they did in this hotel, by the way, is they started to make checklists of everything one by one that would need to clean in a room, and each time the person would go in the room, they would one by one work their way through the checklist. Did you make the bed? Yes. Did you clean the toilet? Yes. Did you leave the handwritten welcome note on the bed and say, "Welcome, Mr. Frankie," and do all that? I always kind of get a laugh. That's I have a cleaning lady here in Mexico, and she calls me Mr. Frankie, Senor Frankie. She doesn't know my last name. So what you want to think about is what ends up happening is when you do it this way, you end up having like McDonald's level of precision. Like McDonald's can have great employees, but they don't need them. Like McDonald's doesn't need like superstar heroes because they've got superstar systems. And so in some ways, superstar systems and processes are actually almost better than superstar people because you can put average people into great systems, but it's hard to put great people into average systems. It doesn't always work in reverse. So ideally you want both, but I'll tell you, if you had to choose between them, you'd rather have great systems. And when you do this right, what ends up happening is you run an agency where you actually do very little. Like if you were in a meeting with the Bobs and they asked you, what would you do around here? It would go a little like this.
They ask, why couldn't the customers just take them directly to the software people, huh?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because engineers are not good at dealing with customers.
So you physically take the specs from the customer?
Well, no, my secretary does that, or they're faxed.
So then you must physically bring them to the software people.
Well, no. Yeah, I mean, sometimes.
What would you say you do here?
And that's what you actually want in your agency, is to have it be such a predictable machine, a machine that you own and have created and have tweaked and set up to run, that very little of it runs actually with you. And so what ends up happening is you can take the family to the beach, or you can sit at home and watch Netflix, or you can do whatever you want to do with your freedom. You can exercise, and you can do those things and know that things are happening and getting done predictably because your checklist and your systems or your process. So there's a really good way to tell how you're doing this right, by the way, which is when you bring on a new employee, instead of training them, give them your process and nothing else. And if you've done your process right, they'll be able to execute it. Now, typically what happens when you do that, by the way, first time you give it to them, you'll realize you forgot a step or two or some kind of detail, and they'll ask you a question or two, and they won't be able to completely execute the process. But then you update it a second time, and usually sometimes 2-3 iterations of it. Once you have that skill set built, what you'll realize is they can just execute it straight from the process. And so you can just add an employee to a system like, ClickUp or Asana or Trello, and send them the process and say, here you go, here's your task for today or the hour or whatever, and they'll be able to execute it step by step. And then what will happen is things get done in your agency. So first, figure out how to do everything manually. But then once you have working systems and processes, you want to automate it. And there's 4 tracks that you want to simultaneously manage in your agency. One of those is the getting of the clients. You want to systematize the getting of the clients. Second track, which includes, by the way, all the marketing and the sales and that lead up process. The second part is the deliverable, right? Like if you do SEO, you got to systematize delivering SEO. Third is your hiring process. You want to systematize that, so have a process for predictably getting in good people. And then this is one that not enough people think about, number 4, which is the little extras you do to wow your clients. You put all those in, though, and you'll have some pretty amazing people, and you'll have a pretty amazing business, and the whole thing will run independent of you. And it's just a really, really smart way to do it. So I hope that makes sense. And I guess I should add, if you're not already there, that the key to doing this, by the way, is that you've niched down enough that you're doing the same thing over and over with each client, that you're not reinventing the wheel. If you do too much custom work, your systems will fall apart because you'll just be doing too much custom work, right? Like everything will feel easier to do it yourself. And when you do it with niche down, you can manage 50 clients with systems easier than you can manage 10 custom clients. In fact, I would even say it's probably like 10 to 25% of the work to manage 50 clients with systems and a tight niche as it is to manage 5 to 10 custom clients. So hope that's helpful to you guys. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to subscribe, and may the force be with you.